Hello everyone, and welcome back to the classroom. Today we'll be—
Shut up immediately.
AP Bio, or Advanced Placement Biology for long, is a 4-season sitcom starring Glenn Howerton, and is one of my favorite sitcoms I've seen in the past decade. These days, I'm obsessive about a lot of stuff. I like to talk about comic books, anime, manga, video games, even sometimes obscure elevator-based horror films. Situational comedies are a dime a dozen, and before reality TV blossomed into one of those smelly meat flowers through the early 2000s, sitcoms were the slop of the masses, the gruel we fed the pigs of society. See? You can see me. That's me right there. But AP Bio rises above the line of mediocrity that defines about 80% of whatever sitcoms are currently running, which is of course part of why the stupid plebeians who watch those didn't watch it. I watch TV for smart people, clearly. AP Bio stars Jack Griffin, played by the increasingly handsome Glenn Howerton, a former philosophy professor at Harvard, incredibly intelligent and charismatic, with a fucking horrible life. Jack has been fired and largely discredited due to expressing his personal philosophy at Harvard, that he should get to beat up an old man, leading to his current life of abject misery, only briefly interrupted by blinding rage or bouts of meaningless sex. Jack has taken one of the only jobs that would take him, a high school biology teacher, and moved into his dead mother's condominium in Toledo, Ohio, while he attempts to get back with his high school ex and destroy the person who he sees as responsible for his downfall. Obviously not himself. Fellow, or rival philosopher, Miles Leonard. He is evil incarnate, like if Hitler were combined with Benjamin Netanyahu and multiplied, made 10,000 times worse.
A son. Oh my goodness. My life just keeps getting better and better.
He is vile. So, as Jack Griffin tells his class in a monologue during the cold open of the pilot, this AP Bio class will not be a place to learn about biology. You can take a nap, catch up on your other homework, brainstorm ideas to be an amateur pro wrestler, but the objective of this class is to get Jack his ex-girlfriend, get him back in the good graces of higher education, and above all, destroy Miles Leonard by any means necessary.
Okay, everybody take out your phones. I want you to Google Miles Leonard pedophile.
This is the overarching plot of the first season, the driving force that takes us from episodes 1 to 12, and is the best season of the show. So, if you get to the last needle drop of this season, and this show still isn't for you, man, I don't know, go watch like King of Queens or something, and keep wasting your life. I really don't know what to tell you. Jack's dynamic with these students is hilarious. I would say each of the students, but there is a fair diaspora of unacknowledged AP Bio students, so much so that it becomes a running joke in the second season. Sarika Sarkar is the overachieving one, looking at PhD programs before she has her junior prom. Heather is Jack Griffin's Fedayeen, willing to review bomb, catfish, and destroy his enemies. Dan Decker and Devin Lastname are two sides of a bully-bullied dynamic who Jack forces to be friends. And Marcus Kasparak, once and former school president, is Jack Griffin's little class whipping boy.
I can juggle 4 balls. Make that 5. I also do magic.
You just keep getting worse.
But Mr. Griffin is not a complete jackass. Upon meeting Sarika, he immediately notes her shared surname with spiritualist Prabhat Ranjam Sarkar. He does his best to set up Heather with her crush, Dan Decker, in Season 2, and his episode destroying Marcus Kasparak is one of the best of the first season. One of the few pleasantries Jack has left in his life, a daily bag of salt and vinegar chips, has been taken from the school vending machine, replaced by a Michelle Obama-esque health initiative, replacing his precious chips with a fruit leather, spearheaded by Premier Kasparak. After things quickly escalate to Marcus blocking off Mr. Griffin's parking spot to Jack exiling Kasparak and his lackeys from class, Jack, motivated by the reasoning that school elections are like 90-10 popularity to anything else, does some light detective work, quickly finding and exposing for his cabinet to see that Kaspbrak's parents bribed Grace, the person in charge of tallying the votes, with a new car from their dealership. Marcus actually lost by over 90%.
Effective immediately. I am retiring from public service. So, I'll see some of you in chemistry.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I thought he knew. I thought he knew.
Jack Griffin is an incredibly cynical person, not only in his day-to-day emotions, but in his genuine outlook on life. Being a very well-read student and teacher of philosophy with almost no moral compass, Jack is able to rationalize pretty much any thought, emotion, or desire he has.
This presented me with an interesting philosophical dilemma. Was it kinder to let this animal slowly die, or to bash it to death with a big wrench? And once I'd done so, I turned and saw that one of the possum's relatives was staring right at me. He'd witnessed the entire thing. This presented me with another beautiful philosophical dilemma. Was it kinder to let this new possum be driven mad by what he'd seen? Or do I bash him to death with a giant wrench as well?
So, Jack has a difficult time seeing any sort of genuine nature or authenticity in anyone else, leading to moments like exposing a 16-year-old for the fraud he is at his fake job. Mr. Griffin goes to impart wisdom on the self-impeached Lord Kaspbrak. Despite Jack's declaration in the cold open of the pilot that he would not be teaching these students anything about biology, nor would they inversely be teaching him anything about anything.
This also won't be one of those things where I end up learning more from you than you do from me. I know more than all of you combined, so that doesn't make any sense.
But, to be narratively satisfying, Jack does have to occasionally impart lessons on these students, as long as they have absolutely nothing to do with academia. Mr. Griffin teaches Marcus that he really needs to be a little more go with the flow, not try and impart his advanced placement wisdom onto everyone, especially with that voice, and kindly offers to humble him through light but routine bullying.
You could split a pad thai and a sparkling wine. That's what I do with my college girlfriend.
I wouldn't call the soft inner lining of a Duke sweatshirt a girlfriend.
Marcus is like, at the risk of being a permanent virgin, don't you think you should come clean and tell Miles it wasn't Devin's fault?
Marcus, go stick your hand in the windowsill. Dan, slam the window down on it as hard as you can.
Okay, you know I can't do that, Mr. G.
AP Bio, like Howerton's most famous series, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, is headlined by unlikable people, or person in this case. And while Sunny may do it more rarely, both shows do actually require our characters to grow in order to remain interesting and engaging, like in moments like this. This is one of my favorite things about AP Bio. Jack is angry at the world around him. He's stuck in Toledo, Ohio, and hates his life, considering it a brief and embarrassing layover to soon be forgotten. But life doesn't actually care. Through begrudgingly hanging out with fellow teachers, participating in bake sales, and sharing his rejected philosophy book with his students, Jack has to accept that his life isn't stopping despite how hard he wants it to. Life will keep happening wherever he is, so make the best of it, I guess.
So what you saw when you trespassed on my property was a man who eats what he wants, drinks what he wants, wears what he wants. It is a lifestyle most high school kids would kill for. It's sad to me that you can't see that.
Some of the other standout episodes from Season 1 are We Don't Party, 8 Pigs and a Rat, Walleye, and the finale, Drenching Dallas. And even the episodes I haven't and won't mention are also good. This is a good-ass show. We Don't Party involves not my favorite running plot of the first season, Jack trying to bang his high school ex, and I quote, as hard as he can. Her and her boyfriend, a doctor at the hospital she works at, need a location for the benefit they're throwing for the hospital's free clinic, as their current venue dropped out. Jack's AP Bio class, being filled with kids who are upper middle class, if you know what I mean, means that when Victor, lullaby enthusiast, is home alone, with his parents out of town, Mr. Griffin suddenly has a McMansion at the ready to save his ex's night. This is a good episode for Jack, but a great episode for the Whitlock High faculty who have been invited by Jack, and the students partying in the basement on the advice of Mr. Griffin. 8 Pigs and a Rat follows the bio students getting an unexpected shipment of fatal pigs for dissection. And after Mr. Griffin confiscates them to shoot at Miles Leonard from a t-shirt cannon, the class gets a rat.
You know, past a situation like this, I kill everybody. Everybody that works for me.
Walleye, the penultimate episode of the season, is almost the most objectively evil Jack in this season. Using his access to around 20 teenagers and having gone to school with Miles Leonard approximately 1 teenager ago, Jack has come up with his greatest scheme yet, roping Devin into pretending to be Miles' bastard child. A fantastic episode and moment for Jack to grow once Miles learns part of the truth. But I think that the best episode of the first season is the finale, Drenching Dallas, which is what JFK did with his brain matter. As of the finale, Jack has achieved one of his 2 main goals, getting back in the good graces of higher education, with an offer to replace Miles Leonard, whose life is unfortunately not ruined as the head of philosophy at Stanford, bringing the season and his exile from the Ivy League to a close. The AP Bio class, on the other hand, wants to publicly humiliate the leader of the drum corps for pranking one of their own. But with his new job on the line, Mr. Griffin cannot help his class execute a revenge plan. Despite his genuine pride in his students wanting to ruin a colleague, he has to refrain from drenching a teenage girl in pig's blood at prom. One character I haven't mentioned yet is Ralph Durbin, principal of Whitlock High, mind behind the Michael Crichton's Congo theme for prom. I've never been the biggest fan of Patton Oswalt, but his overwhelming meekness contrasts really well with Jack Griffin's blatant dickishness.
Oh, what was that?
I tried to click my heels together, but I was like going down even before I went up.
Oh, you coming in?
Yeah.
But there's no one Jack is more blatantly dickish to than himself. Back at the Congo-themed prom, Dallas, the drum corps girl, is being announced as queen, AP Bio is preparing their pig's blood, and Mr. Griffin is walking off into the sunset. The metaphorical sunset, since prom is at nighttime. The sun has long set. All the way back in the premiere, Jack put his students on a relatively simple mission. Nothing as daunting as, say, pretending to be a bastard child or framing a man for murder. They just had to catfish Miles.
Drip, slurp, yum, give me that sweet, wet sugar mess.
Now, let's do keep in mind that this will be the first message that Miles will be hearing from a total stranger.
And during a computer sweep before Miles leaves Stanford and Jack consumes his position, the IP of Linda, Miles' cyber sweetie he's been chatting with, is traced back to a high school. In Great Britain, this is known as noncery and usually gets you promoted. The States are a little different. Sometimes.
No, sorry, Jack, you don't understand. This is bad for you as well, I'm afraid. I recommended you, so Stanford's revoking the offer. I'm tainted. And I've tainted you. I've tainted you bad. Stanford doesn't want you anymore.
Jack's first scheme against Miles that we see coming back to bite him in literally the worst way possible for him makes this one of my favorite comedy finales ever. Mr. Griffin has to return to his AP Bio class who thought they were rid of him, even more dejected than at his lowest of the season. But he finds his spark again by helping his students with their own schemes, their own revenges. Mr. Griffin would still never ever teach his students biology, but his declaration at the beginning of the season that
This also won't be one of those things where I end up learning more from you than you do from me.
was just wrong. Sure, if one of them says a word like zygote, Mr. Griffin is liable to commit felony abuse upon them, but he does teach them in a more helpful way than some real teachers do. Sure, their decision to pour animal fluids on a fellow student could be critiqued, but Mr. Griffin teaches this pushover group of dorks to stand up for themselves. If someone wrongs them, wrong them back. If they want something, their high school ex, sweet revenge, salt and vinegar chips, or if they want to do something, wear sweatpants to work, execute sweet revenge, get drunk wearing a floral robe, all they have to do is start doing it. The soundtrack is an element of the series I love but haven't really mentioned yet, a mix of gospel music and classic rock from Howerton's own Christian upbringing in Alabama. And with the class planning revenge against karate instructors, CVS floor managers, and Mr. Griffin set to I Fought the Law by The Clash, Season 1 wraps up. Like I said, this is the best season of the show. It's the one that feels the most cohesive and the one with the fewest percentage of episodes I'd call okay. So honestly, if you want, you could just call it here. Even if you like the show, this is a fine place to stop watching. But you know what we here at Casual Classroom call not watching as much TV as you possibly could? Being a quitter. And Daddy didn't raise no quitter. Daddy raised a very brave and handsome boy. Season 2 begins with Mr. Griffin having a new goal. After Miles Leonard dodged the whole dating a high schooler thing better than Jerry Seinfeld, Jack Griffin is writing a new book. Season 2 is more focused on Jack as a person than Season 1. Since Jack's book on Why Are the People of Toledo Happy operatively asks why isn't Jack happy and what would it take for Jack to be happy. For Why Are the People of Toledo Happy, Jack takes shift jobs from his students' parents and reflects on the great joy of extremely fatty foods. But for Why Isn't Jack Happy, we learn more about his upbringing, first in a strict Catholic school, like one of the ones with actual scary nuns, and then being bullied in high school by a man who would grow up to wear a scarf indoors. Nuns, the second episode of Season 2, sees Mr. Griffin use his new position as the school driving instructor, and his resource of impressionable youths to steal a statue of the Virgin Mary from his childhood church.
No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
And delves into the feelings of moral inadequacy he developed growing up in his church, which probably did lead him to becoming the most committed moral relativist I've ever seen. Personal Everest sees one of Jack's greatest fears come to Whitlock High, someone who knew him before he went to Harvard. Jack is unable to prove that his childhood bully did not in fact climb Everest, but he is able to prove that this guy is a jerk who sucks. Plus the knowledge that Mr. Griffin was, like his AP Bio class, bullied for being a lame nerd endears him further to them. And for what would it take for Jack to be happy, of course he hopes his book will bring him wealth, acclaim, and the last chopper out of Toledo before it's nuked. But what if things in Toledo, Ohio could make Jack, or any person, happy? Now, it is important to remember, this is a work of fiction, and that is the one Ohio joke I will be making. They're pretty hack at this point. Season 2 sees Jack get closer with the parts of the school we've already met. Principal Durbin, the students, the main group of teachers, who I love.
You know what, Ralph? Make Michelle my emergency contact too.
Aw, that's so sweet. So, okay, worst case scenario, how long do you want me to wait before I give that plug a little yank?
Jeez, Michelle. Long, very long.
And his new kinda sorta girlfriend, Lynette, the payroll lady.
Whoa, guys, stop. Is that Mr. Griffin?
Yeah, that's that payroll lady he likes.
Aww.
Get some.
Season 2 doesn't wrap up either of its main plots, Jack's new book or him and Lynette, like it does with Season 1's Miles plot, but has enough just plain funny episodes to make it a great sitcom season. It's hard for sitcoms to have enough episodes that are memorable for just being funny when seasons have gotten shorter and shorter. But AP Bio still does it. I think the funniest of the season is episode 8, Sweet Low Road. The basic conflict is something that every sitcom that even involves a school goes through at some point. The superintendent is in her cutting era. Gym equipment, art supplies, and part-time teachers who don't even teach their subject have gotta go. This episode sees every part of Whitlock High that we've met try and help in their own way, and is just really funny. My favorite parts being Jack going on a stakeout of the superintendent's home and the promotional video for the Jazz Pops concert made by these students.
Happy birthday!
Victor!
Yo, dude.
I can't figure out how to get that out of there.
The general production of AP Bio is also just really nice. Head and shoulders above most sitcoms. It may even be a better hair care product above them. For example, I just really love the colors of this show. Season 2 ends with a development of both of its main plots, but not a conclusion. Jack decides his new relationship with Lynette is worth not immediately fleeing Ohio for. And he gets his book in the hands of Sarika's aunt, an executive at Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz.
Seasons 3 and 4 are unfortunately not as good as the first two seasons, but with still about 80% of the quality it had at its peak, creative new ideas, and a 25% reduction in the already small episode count, they're still good seasons of TV. Hundy P. I of course decree this as the mayor of TV. Everyone has to listen to me. Glenn Howerton could probably read the Unabomber's manifesto and make it even more hilarious, so it's not surprising that even at their least, all of these episodes are funny. The funniest one of Season 3 is Disgraced. Jack has a chance to have Koontz Publishing take a serious look at his book if he ghostwrites for Robin Schwank, a horror writer played by John Lovitz, basically if Stephen King was annoying instead of annoying and a pedophile. AP Bio has had great guest spots already, the most surprising one probably being Christopher Lloyd in Season 2, but John Lovitz is my favorite. He's the best guest actor, like, ever.
Oh no, she won't say a word to anybody. Well, she's talking a blue streak now, Jack.
And my other favorite episode of the season earns that monumental title simply because of how weird it is. The season finale, Katie Holmes Day. AP Bio has already tried more experimental stuff with the editing, having an episode essentially take place backwards in Season 2. They're calling it Memento but better, but this is the first time they've stretched the canon of Toledo. Now granted, I've never been to Ohio, so this could be true, but the finale of Season 3 sees Toledo celebrate Katie Holmes Day, where on the birthday of the Rachel dolls from Batman Begins, Toledoans celebrate her like a deity, or at least one of the very important saints. In a Grinch-esque episode, Jack tries to ruin Katie Holmes Day, as having someone more successful than a failed philosophy author from his hometown is unacceptable. Jack recruits a student of his who has been passed over for the lead role in the Katie Holmes Day play to be his Grinch dog and help him sabotage the holiday. But, folks, spoiler warning ahead for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. I repeat, this is a spoiler warning for How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Jack learns that even the dumbest of traditions still have value because of the value it gives to the people who practice it. Katie Holmes Day even gives Jack another few minutes with his dead mother through an old VHS tape, and makes his heart grow like at least one size. This has warmed Jack up to his current life in Toledo just that much more, and I'm sorry, this is a step too far for me. No holidays about people who are still alive. When Katie Holmes dies, we can revisit the subject. But if we're looking for drama, theatrics,
maybe you could surprise her by showing a genuine interest in her life. Like if she was wearing an out-of-character outfit, maybe you could ask her about it.
we're taking a step back into the bulk of Season 3 now, and while I think Disgraced was the funniest episode, and I like how Katie Holmes Day makes the world of the show definitively weirder, Episode 7, Ace is Wild, is the overall best episode of Season 3. I haven't talked about Anthony yet, the only A-peer with enough attitude to give Mr. Griffin a run for his money, but he's one of my favorite of the students. And Anthony's mix of being a performer at heart but a linebacker at body makes him the perfect candidate for Toledo's pro-amateur wrestling circuit. This episode is a genuinely heartwarming lesson in confidence. Mr. Griffin's absolute egomaniacism has extended to his students, and he will not let Anthony be a footstool for Ron Funches, no matter how hilarious he is in both live action and voice acted roles. Hey guys, little extra credit time. What if you liked, commented, and subscribed? Actually, it's going to be regular credit. If you don't do it, you're expelled. Season 4 is not the best season of AP Bio, but it does start with one of the best episodes in a couple of seasons. Tornado, or as I remember it, the fanfiction episode, is one of my 2 favorites in Season 4. While the school's on Tornado Watch, the students practice their ship-making skills, making fanfiction shipping the teachers, students, it's kinda weird. Throughout the episode, we've had the same comedic trope recur, where before the reveal that someone is reading a fanfiction, it'll play out as if it's the canon of the episode. But in the last part of the episode, the fanfiction of reality that we see play out is Jack being able to be more vulnerable with Lynette. Writing a night where he apologizes to her for being kind of a dick that day and they snuggle up in bed together, while she's actually packing her stuff and saying goodbye. The funny parts of this episode are funny. Victor is particularly good in this episode, and the joke about writing fanfiction about being in the fanfiction club always kills me, but we just hadn't had a good dramatic moment for this show in a minute. But if we're looking for drama, theatrics.
All right, fine, Anthony. Why don't you go ahead and tell me why you're dressed like a Fantastic Sam's street marketing team? Just please, don't say you're an a cappella group.
Yeah, this is a little remnant from when I thought Aces Wild was a Season 4 episode. Thought it would be funny to keep this in. Honestly though, I do wish that Aces Wild was a Season 4 episode. It has a big theatrical energy and is just a really good episode, and would have helped with what ended up being the show's final season. AP Bio was declined for renewal when the show's 4th season was airing, meaning that the show was unable to have a true wrap-up, but this season does check off some good boxes. Sweatpants is another really funny episode where Victor takes the main student lead, forming a therapy speak cult that the lady who fell in love with her psychiatrist on TikTok would be perfect for. I know that that's kinda like old news at this point, but it's TikTok stuff. It was old news a few hours after it happened. An Oath to Rusty is an episode that blends a funny plot, as always, with something the show hadn't done yet. Have Jack making friends with some of the men faculty of Whitlock High. Jack's thoughtful but sensitive, whiny, narcissistic nature makes him better friends with women than men. I'm the same way. But in this episode, Jack sets up a game night with the guys at work to prove his current nemesis, Marcus Kasparak, wrong. And in the weird but heartfelt attitude this series has, after Jack has a meltdown because the guys don't want to play 40k, real, Dale the janitor has to gentle parent him back to the game night. The other episodes of the season are kind of a mixed bag. I've called this type of season a Chex Mix type season, but I've got to come up with a better snack because, it's not that bad. It's more like the appetizer platter at Applebee's. Fantastic mozzarella sticks, quesadillas, boneless wings, and the spinach and artichoke dip is there. And this season does have some spinach and artichoke dip episodes. Tons of Rue is one of the better checked box episodes of the season. We finally meet the man who walked out on Jack and his mother, leaving a hole that would cause Jack Griffin to assault an old man and then not teach AP Bio. The selfish, the vile, the Bruce Campbell? Man, this guy's awesome. Come on, Jack. Jack also gets a new girlfriend, who does present an interesting side of him to the audience, as she's also horrified of commitment and eager to run away from a new working relationship. But this season also has what is the hardest episode of the show to watch, by far, Love for lack of a better term, where Victor, probably the dorkiest member of the AP Bio class, gets more or less catfished, which we call getting carped. In the final episode of the season and of AP Bio, is the Harvard pen. When Janet Fisk stops an orphanage fire. Oh, and Heather, along with her classmates, stars in a web show based on 70s detective series called Janet Fisk. It's good content. Anyways, when Janet Fisk stops an orphanage fire after a long series of somewhat continuity-breaking flashbacks, Jack's beloved Harvard pen was burned on set. Where they apparently just had a real fire going? You'd think that Mr. Griffin's Harvard pen is just what it sounds like, some pen he got during his time at Harvard. But, like a lot of this show's most heartwarming moments, it's a reminder of the caring love of his mother that has now been long gone. Her telling him he'll do great things with it as a gift before he leaves for school. Jack also helps Steph deliver the baby she's been pregnant with for the past few seasons. The pregnancy trope is one of my favorites in sitcoms because you obviously just can't ask your actresses to, not start a family over the multiple years you'll be filming. So, at some point, no matter what else is going on, the writers just have to go, okay, someone is fucking pregnant, I guess. Jack helps Steph deliver the baby at the school before they're both taken to the hospital. His students return the pen to him, still burnt but glued back together, roughly. And while Jack, the whole show, has had no confidence that any great or even good things could happen for himself in Toledo, Ohio, life and all the great and good things in it just happen wherever you are. Life isn't waiting for Jack to have a cushy job again, to have a life he's proud of again. This is his life, as an AP Bio teacher at a high school in Ohio's fourth most populous city. And he'll either learn to live with that, or literally lose his mind and go on some sort of philosophy-based mass killing spree. AP Bio may not be the best sitcom of all time, but it is a severely underrated one. One that was cancelled before its time to catch fire, but also given enough time to have real and meaningful character development. Sitcom characters are pretty difficult to write in a way that has believable development due to the nature of these shows. Episodes meant to function out of order and independently from one another are tough. But AP Bio is written smartly enough to balance consistently funny characters and episodes with real, genuine moments. Especially, and of course, with the main character, Jack Griffin. Hating your life is easy, especially when things haven't gone the way you expected, but what is much more difficult is taking your whole life in stride and in gratitude, no matter what stage of it you're at. Obviously, there's always something to complain about, but there's also always something to be thankful for, I think. Planning long-term revenge schemes won't help your life. Trying to bang your high school ex and then every woman in California won't make you feel fulfilled. I'm no doctorate of philosophy from Harvard School, but I think that you need to take stock of, and more importantly, appreciate and enjoy every aspect of your life you can, even if you are in Toledo, Ohio. Well, I feel confident saying that I have lived up to the legacy of Mr. Jack Griffin, not the Invisible Man, but the advanced placement biology teacher, by not teaching anything about biology. But that is the video for this week, y'all. Thank you so much for joining me as always. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
It's over!
Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching that video, and if you made it to this point, what's that? What's that out there? What's that I hear? A special or double, thank you. Normally this would, my thing for this week is sitting on my lap right now. It's quite fragile, so it almost fell off there. But normally, me not wearing jewelry is a mistake. I was gonna put it on, but then I was like, Jack Griffin wouldn't put on no frickin' jewelry. Are you kidding me? But yeah, I wanted to emulate him today, as I would like to emulate Glenn Howerton in my entire life. So wore a cardigan. I had to do the glasses though. I feel weird without them when I'm filming. What I have to show off for my collection this week though is it's a very random thing. It's this little Athenian owl that I got while I was on a little trip to New York City, visiting one of my friends. First time I've ever been there. It was awesome. I had a great time. And yeah, I picked up this little Athenian owl from a flea market there. I wanted this to be my collection piece for this week because Athenian owls represent wisdom. and no one is more wise than Mr. Jack Griffin. Also, maybe I should have. I love the old Invisible Man movie, like the first one. I think it's so funny. And I should have put another Invisible Man joke in there, but I think that's kind of only funny to me. But also, I do make these videos pretty much just for me. So, but yeah, I really like AP Bio. I think it's a great show. I think it's massively underrated. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I love Eduardo. I didn't talk about Eduardo, but he's very funny. I feel weird about what they did with Devin's character, like just like replacing him with Caleb, who was like, it's funny because like people liked Devin more, even though like he was like, you know, like weirder. But Caleb is like so much like nicer, but everyone fucking hates him. I love Caleb. But yeah, I think that's the video for this week, y'all. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.